Hello, hi people. How y'all doing today? As for me, I'm fantastic. So, today I will be talking about basically being an international student. I'll be talking about things I wish I knew before I came to America. I'll be talking about things that I found out while I was in America. I'm going to give you the tea. I'm going to tell you, as a potential international student, what to expect, what not to expect, and maybe even a few tips. I don't know where this video is going to take me. I'm just going to talk, okay? Number one, choose a school. I know, this is such a brilliant mind. Just pick a school. Who would have thought that you had to pick a school first? You have to pick a school, and I put this as first on the list because to me, it matters what school you decide to attend. I learned this firsthand. The first school that I went to, there's a whole long story on that, and I've never really told much people about it. I did not end up going to the school that I originally applied for. Ended up going to a much smaller school, and my experience at that much smaller school was terrible. It was so bad, and if I could go back in time, I would change it. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I don't regret a thing. I regret it. I regret it. No, it's a no. You have to be so careful what school that you decide to enroll in, because I mean, this is where you're going to be spending the next few years of your life. If you're an exchange student, you're probably only going to spend a semester or two, but it's still important because a semester is still a few months. 2 semesters is almost a year. Like, you still have to live in this place for a long or an extended period of time. You want for the school that you choose to be the right school for you. So here's what I recommend. If you know that you're somebody looking to experience a wide range of people, choose a school that is very much diverse in the ways that you would want it to be. Let's say you're from the Bahamas. Pick a school that has a certain percentage of people from the Caribbean. If you're of a certain nationality and you want diversity, great, but also pick a school that has diversity plus a good percentage of international students that are similar to you, because these are the people who you are going to relate to the most. I always tell people this all the time. I love America, but there's nothing like home. You know, you could take the girl out the island, you can't take the island out the girl. So for me, when I went to the very first school that I went to when I came to the United States, that was not a good experience for me because, for one, there were barely any international students. That was number one. Number two, the few that were there, they weren't like me either. They weren't from the Caribbean. You don't even necessarily, in my case, you don't necessarily even have to be Bahamian. Be from the Caribbean and we good, you know, because all of we is one family. But yeah, you want to pick a school that's right for you because, and this brings me into number two, culture shock. When you move to a whole other country, even if you've visited there before, visiting is different from actually living there, setting up shop, you know, buying bed sheets and groceries because you're gonna be here a while. That's different from going on a vacation for a week or two, especially because, you know, like at the end of those few weeks or a month, you're going back home. You are here for months. 4 months, okay, guys? Not 4 months. I mean, maybe you could be here for 4 months, but you're here for a number of months. And this is now your home. This is now where you live. And so culture shock comes into play when you realize this new place that I call home is not like my actual home. The people are not like my actual home. Which side of the road they drive on is not the way it is at home. The way people dress, the way they talk, the way they act, the way they interact. These things matter. When you are choosing a school, you're already putting a lot of stress and strain on your body when you decide, hey, I'm going to pick up my life and move to another country for a few months or years. That's stress enough. When you get there and you realize it's so different, that's added stress. When you get around people and you realize they're not like the people back home, you're gonna feel it, and it can very much affect you. So I guess what I'm trying to say is culture shock is a thing. It doesn't happen to everybody, but it happens to a lot of people, and you do not want to be one of those people. And if you are, you want to be prepared for it. Prepare for it. The more prepared you are, I feel like the easier it is for you to get through it. Because I mean, sometimes you can't help culture shock. It's gonna hit you sometimes. But if you know what it is that's going on, it makes it a tad bit easier to get through it. So for instance, if you know, hey, I might be feeling a little anxious or a little depressed, maybe it's because I'm in a foreign country where they don't do things the way we do it back home. They don't speak the way we speak back home, and it's taking a toll on me. Then you know this must be culture shock. Let me go and try some remedies to you know, find some sort of solution. But if you don't know it's culture shock that you're dealing with, how do you know what problem to treat if you don't know what the problem is? So I just want to put it in your mind, not because I want to speak it on you, not because I want to put that in the atmosphere, but because it's something that happens so often. It is such a common thing, and many international students get excited, come to these foreign countries, and then they start to get depressed, anxious, and all freaked out, and they wonder why. This is why. And if you know that it exists, like, we all hear the word culture shock, but when we're planning to go and move to another country, we never think it's going to happen to us. So have it in your mind that it is a possibility. And if you do start to feel a certain way, you know what it is. Okay, so I am going to rewind it a bit and back to choosing a school. Okay, so once you choose a school, you also want to start the process of being admitted to that school very early. And when I say very early, I'm talking about as early as possible. Why? Because the process is a very long process. It's very tedious. And on top of that, with the pandemic still lingering, offices like the American Embassy and such, they take a longer time to get things done. And okay, let me give you guys a backstory. I feel like I should have said this at the beginning of the video, you know, show my credibility. I am an international student living in the United States of America. I go to school in Missouri. I'm originally from the Bahamas. I'm graduating soon. So happy. And yeah, I came over here for school. I've transferred to two different schools within the United States. I have also had to sit out a semester or two. I lied, it was 2 semesters. I sat out for an entire year and came back. And I want to just say that this is the reason why I know what I'm talking about. This is why, because I've done this process so many times. I helped my brother when it was his turn to come over. I feel like I am fit to give you guys some tips, you know. But yeah, back to what I was saying. When it comes to applying, like I said, the pandemic just passed, and the pandemic is still lingering around, and so the American Embassy is taking a longer time to get things done. Of course, I think student visa applicants are being prioritized. I can't speak for sure on that. But you want to get your applications in early. You want to get your interview dates early, because then they still have to go behind and actually get your visa done if you are approved, that is, and have it mailed to you and all these different things. And then you have stuff going on with the school where maybe you gotta wait to find money for the application fee, or you have to find who's going to be the person that sponsors you. And then there are sometimes when the school messes up, or there's something going on with the school and you have to be emailing back and forth. Stuff like that happens, and you want to allocate time to deal with any problem that might arise. And so I always say the earlier the better. So you want to get started on that process as soon as possible. And I mentioned money. Let me tell you something. You really do want to have money, and I'm not talking about just what you show people on the bank statement saying, "Oh, I have this amount of money to sustain me for a year." No, you want more money than that. You're gonna need more money than that. So many unexpected expenses arise, not only during the whole applying process, but from the minute you touch down, even before you touch down in America. Like, you're spending money nonstop trying to get this, trying to get that, plane ticket, taxi fare, hotel before you are able to move into your dorm, food until you're able to go to the grocery store, then you need money for the grocery store after the fact. Like, it's a lot of things to consider. So you want to be sure that you are allocating enough money for all of these expenses that may arise, and you want to start saving early. Like, even before you apply to go to a school, I think you need to be saving for when you get in America. Let me tell y'all something. When it was me, I was not prepared. I didn't have a job before I came to school in America. So my family, they were funding me coming here to the United States. They were funding my trip, funding my schooling. They're the ones taking care of all the finances. I was just there. It took a toll on me because I need money. You need money to buy food, not all the time. You have money for groceries. These are things that you need money for, and you have to allocate that before you decide you're gonna apply for a school and come here. There's something to keep in mind. And also, be prepared for health insurance. Be prepared to have health insurance. But yeah, going back to the whole doing early, when it comes to the American embassy, they have to do so many things to get you your visa. The American embassy takes a minute. You don't want to have to like defer a semester or something because you weren't able to get your student visa on time. That would be like a letdown. Like imagine paying the application fee, going through everything, going through setting up a filling out the visa application, getting an interview, going to the interview, but you went a little too late and now you don't have your visa and you're supposed to be in America already. Classes are starting tomorrow. You're freaking out. Yeah, you don't want to be that person. Do it early and you won't have no problems. I mean, not to say you won't have any problems, but time will be the least of your problems because you started early and you started the process early and you're getting things done early and ahead of time. And then to me, that also makes the whole traveling to the States part a little more enjoyable because you now know, hey, I don't have to stress about, am I going to get my visa on time? Or, oh, I didn't get accepted on this and that. Like, there's so many things to worry about, but when it's time to go, you should be like all set up. You should have everything in place so you don't have to sit there worrying and you could spend that time just being happy and excited that you're about to embark on this new journey. I have another tip. Live in some sort of on-campus housing, whether it be a dorm or a apartment. Live around other people. Do not go, especially if you're an older international student. I mean, I'm not talking about 30s with a family. I'm talking about like even if you're like 23, 24, and you're just starting school, it's okay to start off in the dorms. It's okay to start off in the on-campus apartments. I feel as though when you go straight to living on your own or away from everybody else, you're not going to get the full college experience. On top of that, you're going to experience more feelings of isolation. And this kind of ties in with the whole culture shock thing. It's just you want to be able to network, you want to be able to make friends with people, have relationships with people, you want to be around people, you don't want to isolate yourself, especially in a foreign country where you don't know anybody. You want to be around people and have those bonds and relationships to rely on. And you need people, especially if you're going to be here by yourself, no family, nothing. You need to have somebody who's going to be there for you. And it's probably going to be that roommate. It probably is. So you want to have that type of bond. It's cool to go to class and you get to know people, but that's different from actually living with a person. You get to know that person on a whole other level a lot of the times. Like I said, unless you have a family, you know, a wife or a husband or a partner and kids, other than that, I would say try your best to resist the temptation of, oh, I want to have an apartment off campus and live by myself. No, try living with people for a while. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But I would always recommend getting a dorm or an on-campus apartment, some sort of on-campus housing arrangement, having roommates and getting to know people on that deeper level, because those are the people who are going to have your back. Those are the people who are going to be there for you. Those are the people who are going to be around. God forbid something happens to you in your home. You know you have roommates who can be there or who may come home eventually and they can help you. They can see something is up. They can help you. You don't want to, God forbid, slip down and break a leg and it's just you in this off-campus house or apartment and nobody's around. You're in a foreign country. You need people around to help you in the case of emergencies. I would also say get to know your international student advisor or your DSO. DSO, I think, is designated school official, who's going to answer all your questions about being an international student. They're probably the ones who are going to guide you through international student orientation. They're the ones who you're going to have to speak to throughout the semester about almost any or everything. If you have any questions about your visa, have any questions about fitting in, have any questions about anything, they're more than likely the people you're going to be talking to. They're the ones who are going to make sure you are good while you're in this country. They're going to make sure you're staying legal. They're going to make sure you're doing everything right and the way you're supposed to do it. I'm not saying you need to be best friends with them. I'm saying get to know them, introduce yourself, and know who they are and know what they are there for. Speaking of your international student advisor slash DSO, you want to make sure you run almost every and anything by them so that you aren't doing anything that you're not supposed to be doing. You want to apply for a job, let them know I'm applying for a job. What are the do's and the don'ts? Because as you should know, or if you don't know, I'm going to tell you, you're very restricted, you're very limited as an international student. So you can't do everything that you see an American do because they're American, they can do it. As an international student, there are limits as to what you can do in this country. So you want to get a job, cool. It's more than likely only can be an on-campus job. Some people get like special approval to work off campus, but that is something that I'm not too knowledgeable about, so I'm not going to touch on that. But that is an option. But most international students work on campus, and yeah, that's the way to go. And you want to make sure, tell your international student advisor about it, ask questions. Don't do and then ask, because at that point you already put yourself in hot water and you didn't even know it, and now it's too late. So I would say just keep in contact with them, ask them. If you're not sure about anything, ask. Don't worry about bothering them. It's their job to help you. It's their job to guide you. It's their job to let you know if what you want to do is okay or not, and if it's legal or not, if it's something that your visa allows you to do. Something else is, don't expect going abroad to be like a vacation. You are here for school. And I will say this, I think that if you keep failing or something, they take your visa. I need to do the research on it. I think there's like other than, getting in trouble with the school for not having good grades, like if you take this study abroad experience to be one where you just ignore school and you go out and party every night and it's always a party and never homework, or attending class regularly, I think that eventually the International Student Service Office steps in and they put you on academic probation or something. I can't remember exactly, but I think that if you keep slipping in the grades, they're going to send you home because they're going to be like, why are you here? You're obviously not studying. I tie that into, this is not a years-long vacation. I've seen a lot of international students come because they want to network and they want to meet people and have fun. Fine, but you cannot forget that you also came here for school. That's what your visa stands for. It's a F1 student visa. You're here to be a student. You're not here to party and make friends only. Keep that in mind. It's not a vacation. It's not a year-long party tour. You came here for school. Make sure that is your top priority. Y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I just got this feeling, okay? It's this, I'm hungry, okay? I don't know where it came from. It was this immense hunger that just suddenly, it just hit me. I'm so hungry. So with that said, I'm gonna go find something to eat. So I'm more than sure that there are way more tips than I can give you. I could go on forever, but I want to eat. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Bye, y'all.